My fiddle-leaf fig is dying. As I pick up its brittle, brown leaves off the floor, I apologize aloud, since I have started talking to myself during the pandemic, and recall when it was lush and healthy. 7 years ago, I splurged and purchased the $95 plant for myself for Mother's Day, as moms do. I remember listening intently to the nursery staffer's plant care tips as she gingerly placed the tall beauty in the back of my car, just as I did when I brought my children home from the hospital. The statuesque fig transformed the living room of my Hollywood rental with its violin-shaped leaves and softened its unappealing yellow walls. When I moved to a sun-drenched bungalow in Echo Park, the fiddle leaf was like an old friend in an environment that still felt like someone else's home. I loved walking into the living room and seeing its greenery against a wall of floor-to-ceiling glass. When the deadly wildfires of 2018 were visible from my hilltop perch, the plant was a reassuring presence as life felt out of control. I believe, as Justina Blakeney noted in her book, The New Bohemians, that a home isn't a home without plants. Plants breathe life into a room, and they add deep color, bright freshness, and a bold vitality to a space that only something living can bring, she said. But my fiddle-leaf fig wasn't happy in its new home. The direct sunlight from the west-facing windows overwhelmed the plant's once glossy, puckered leaves, and slowly, over a period of several years, it began to degenerate. While sheltering in place during the pandemic, I needed a distraction, so I focused on the prospect of saving the houseplant. My family dynamic was spiraling. Even with so much uncertainty in the world, my son went off to college in Illinois and my daughter decided to stay in Minneapolis after graduating from college. In addition to worrying about my kids, I now also worried about my mother, who was growing increasingly confused during our weekly visits through the sliding glass door of her nursing home. After months of her being locked inside because of the coronavirus, her dementia accelerated to the point where she didn't know me. Her eyes looked past me as I tried to reassure her. The stress of the pandemic has made my brain fuzzy too, I told her. I can't remember anything either. She had a green thumb at one point in her life. I wished I could ask her how to save my fiddle-leaf fig. I wished I could ask her a lot of things. Don't let it sit in water, advised my go-to plant expert, Annette Gutierrez, co-owner of the Atwater Village garden store Potted. If you notice water in the tray or container for too long after you've watered, use a turkey baster to get it out. The Reader's Digest, Success with Houseplants, recommends wiping the leaves with a sponge regularly to free them of accumulated dust. Bright light was essential. But it needs to be indirect.